First of all, can I just say how terrible this lighting is? I look so washed out and gross, and I'll try to fix it in post if I can, but yeah, it doesn't look good. Hello and welcome to the show. This is episode 3. Yes, we're on episode 3 already. Okay. Um, Today's episode is about breakthroughs and inspiration and the muse and all that kind of stuff. Because I've had one. I had a breakthrough just this morning. I was looking at my photo here and thinking about the story, and like, okay, so I've got these 4 girls and this really cool opening line. So I've got these 4 girls and this really cool opening line, but I don't have the story yet. I still don't know what the plot is. I don't know where anything's going. So I was just kind of mulling it over, trying to think where I wanted to take the story. I knew I wanted to kind of veer fantasy, if only for the reason that fantasy is kind of an evergreen genre. There's fantasy, you might have explosions of like Game of Thrones or whatever, sure, that like everybody's heard of and maybe even everybody will read, but fantasy, as a rule, fantasy thrillers, science fiction, mysteries, these are evergreen. Romance, of course. There's always going to be a market for that genre. Now, there are, of course, a trillion subgenres down from fantasy. That's okay. I just wanted a fantastic element to the story. That much I knew. Didn't want to go contemporary, despite having used contemporary names. I was doing my stretching because I'm an old guy now, so you can see, old guy, and trying to think about what did I want to do with the story. And I started thinking of the movie The Craft. I'm a Gen X kid, so The Craft, of course, was very big in my day. And I started thinking about that, and I'm like, well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to just copy The Craft. Also, there is a remake being made right now, or in development, as I understand it. So I don't want to just do that, because that's kind of lame. But man, these 4 girls and fantasy, like already we're kind of veering in this craft-like direction. But that got me thinking some more about magic and black magic and demons and, whatever, and all kinds of crazy occult stuff, because I love getting into that kind of thing. And that is what ultimately led to this potential breakthrough. So I've taken some notes about where I think I want the story to go. The first thing, though, that I want to point out about this is that you don't wait around for inspiration. I actually read that exact sentence in a book many, many years ago. I was very young when I read it, and I don't remember what the book was now. It might have been a playwriting book, actually, but in any case, write this down. You don't wait around for inspiration. If you wish to be a professional author, whether you're doing that traditionally or independently or both, doesn't matter. We cannot afford to sit around going, well, I'll write when I feel like it. Like, no, yeah, some people do, and that's fine, but people who are making a living doing it, or even remotely close to a living doing it, are not sitting around waiting for inspiration. They're sitting down, it's called butt in chair, and you just do the work. So, you don't wait around for inspiration. It just so happened that as I was thinking about it, I had this sort of burst of inspiration, and so when it does happen, though, you chase it down and you catch it and you ride that idea as best you possibly can. As it turns out, I had taken notes for another idea completely separate from this. Oh my gosh, maybe a year ago, maybe even more, I don't remember. I was at my favorite bookstore / coffee shop just writing some stuff, and I had this idea for a story called Exorcists. And the idea of that story was that rather than like a zombie apocalypse or any other kind of apocalypse, there was a possession apocalypse where like 90 or 99% of the world had been taken over by some kind of demon, some kind of possession type thing, and this small group of people, this small group of survivors, had taken it upon themselves to go around and perform exorcisms as best they could to try to bring humanity back from the brink. Thought that was kind of a cool setting, but that's all it was kind of a setting. But after thinking about it, I was like, wait a minute, I've got these 4 girls, and I know I want to do something fantasy or supernatural. They're walking away from their town, laughing, apparently. Darcy held hands with Allison, laughing as they walked away from the carnage of their hometown in southern Arizona. So, of course, I'm thinking, well, what's the carnage about? What happened in their hometown, and why are they laughing about it? Are they responsible for it? Let's say they are. Let's say they are responsible for the carnage. Okay, that's interesting. Well, what happened? And then I started thinking, well, what are some reasons that 4 people, regardless of age or gender, would create carnage in their hometown, a place where most of us, feel most at home and most comfortable. So that led me down a whole other path, and I started thinking about, well, maybe it's revenge. Revenge is very frequently a motive for violence and carnage and things like that. Well, what if this and what if that? Oh, wait a minute. And then the next thing you know, I've got a story in mind. So that's where I'm at today. I don't know if I'm going to do any writing. I've already done kind of my writing for the day on another project that I'm working on, but I wanted to check in and talk to you about that. At some point, I have to write sentence number 2. Okay? Again, let me emphasize, as a writer, as an author by profession, I've already done sort of my author work for the day. I got up at 4:30 this morning, and I got some water, and I sat down, and I wrote for, I don't know, a half hour, 45 minutes, something like that, and got some really good work done on a science fiction novel that I'm working on right now. So I want you to understand that, which is why I'm not necessarily writing this today. At some point, sentence number 2 has to come out, and sentence number 3, and so on and so forth. So don't forget that. In the meantime, do not wait around for inspiration. Do not wait for the muse. The muse owes you nothing. At some point, you have to sit down and just bang out a sentence or 2, or a paragraph or a page. I recommend a good goal as 500 to 1,000 words a day. I think that's great. 1,000 might be too much for some people. Cool. Go for 500. My minimum threshold for encouraging you to write every day, or as close to every day as you can, is 250 words. Why 250 words? Well, that's because 250 words, double-spaced on an 8.5 by 11 sheet with 1-inch margins, that's 1 page of a manuscript. 1 page. And if we multiply that out, 250 words times 365 days, that is 91,250 words. 91,000. If you average 250 words a day, 1 double-spaced sheet, 1-inch margins, you can write a 91,000 word novel. And you don't have to write 91,000 words. That actually gives you a buffer of like 10,000 words. Not too bad. So aim for that. Again, on average, you can't write every day, and I don't even encourage you to necessarily, to be honest. Should you? Yeah, if you can. If you can't, that's fine. But average 250 words a day. Maybe write every other day. Maybe you can only write twice a week because you're taking care of people or something like that. Who knows? But shoot for that. That's a good goal to hit. 250 words a day, great. My personal preference is 1,000 words a day, but again, this is my job. So that's today's insight, and by our next meeting, hopefully I will have some more sentences to show you, and we can talk some more about where the story is going. But I really like the outline that I came up with. Or it's not even an outline. It's still more of a very vague plot. Don't know the specifics yet, but I've got some good stuff, and I'm really excited about it, okay? Keep writing, take care of yourself, and we'll see you in probably a few days, okay? Take care.